Hello everyone and welcome to Capitol Watch for Friday, April 24th, our weekly look at the Missouri General Assembly. And joining us from our governmental relations offices in Jefferson City is our Associate Executive Director for Advocacy and our Chief Lobbyist, Mike Reed. And Mike, the major development this week was the passage of the state budget and passage of the budget earlier than normal in the session, isn't it?
Yes. The state budget has to be passed by the Friday before the last Friday in the session, which this year it's May 7th or 8th, whatever that is, that last Friday. This was passed 2 weeks early. It was done to make sure that the governor gets a chance to look at the budget and to see whether or not he wants to veto any items, and those veto items may or may not be overridden during the session. This was the idea of the General Assembly is to get the budget done as quickly as possible and get it off the table. A very interesting budget, a very contentious budget. As late as Monday and Tuesday of this week, it looks as if the budget was not going to get passed this week, and then people started working much more diligently and got it passed, got it through, and it passed on Thursday.
Mm-hmm. And as far as public education is concerned, Mike, what does it look like for the foundation formula?
Well, the foundation formula is still underfunded, but we received more money than we did the year before. We got to keep the Senate money, which is about $85 million more. That amount of money appears to make sure that no district is hurt by the proration factor between hold harmless and non-hold harmless districts that was passed last year. So that proration factor appears not to be included. We have 85 million new money into the formula, which is good. Again, we're still about $400 million short in fully funding the formula. So there's good with bad, but there are other agencies who took cuts this year. We did not, and we have more money, and that's very important.
And the state budget plan approved by the General Assembly, Mike, also includes a provision related to state assessments. What's that all about?
Well, there are new state assessments. The state is going to have to come back. DESE's going to have to come back. They've received $7 million, and they're going to have to develop their own state assessment. There are limitations on what can be had and where you can buy state assessments and Common Core questions. There's some limitations on those things. So the state will be responsible for developing its own test, and that responsibility must be written and given to the General Assembly as early as next year.
Mm-hmm. Another major issue that we've been following, Mike, of course, the student transfer fix bill, and that's in a conference committee now, isn't it?
Yes, the conference committee met this week for the first time. They determined the things that were easily agreed upon, and that part of the bill is taken care of. There are several questions that are still open in the bill, and that we'll be working on for the next week or so. Those include expansion of charter schools, expansion of virtual schools, whether or not there will be a cap on tuition for receiving districts. Very, very important and contentious questions. And those will be worked on during the week. The first meeting is next Monday.
Another issue we're concerned about, Mike, has to do with some proposed tax cuts for telephone companies in particular. Where does that bill stand?
Yes, that bill was placed on a mining bill, and the mining bill now, it appears that there's been we have worked with the sponsor, and there's some agreement. The mining bill was a question on how assessors would assess various mines, rock quarries, mineral deposits. It appears that we have reached an agreement that there will be a study group to study how assessors will do that, and we will have a seat at the table along with the assessors and the mining company owners to see that everything is fair. So that part of the bill is taken care of. The other part of the bill is still out there, and that gives a break to telephone companies in the way that they depreciate telephones. And in light of the break that they get, the depreciation schedule would allow telephones to take between a $12 and an $18 million a year reduction. Well, that $12 or $18 million must come from someplace, which means it comes from the taxpayers in the various school districts. So by giving the company a financial break, the patrons of the school district are going to have to make it up. We're picking winners and losers. And at this point, we're picking the telephone company as a winner over the teachers and the students of the state of Missouri, and I don't think that's appropriate.
So, Mike, we're heading into the final weeks of the legislative session, and this is the time of the session when we really have to keep an eye on amendments that might be added to other bills. Isn't that right?
That's correct. There are 3 weeks left, and it's time that bills that aren't going anyplace are now attached to bills that are going someplace. And so there are many amendments that keep going, and they change the whole reflection of the bill. So you may be in favor of a bill before the amendment goes on. Several amendments are put on, and you're against it. So our members will be seeing alerts coming quite rapidly, and they need to watch and make sure that they let their representatives and senators know how their actions are affecting the people at home.
All right, Mike Reed, thanks a lot for joining us. We, of course, will be keeping you up to date in the final days of the legislative session with our Legislative Voice emails on Friday, our daily updates on our website, and, of course, as Mike mentioned, any critical issue alerts that we might need to issue in the final days of the session. Thanks a lot for joining us on this edition of MSBA's Capitol Watch.